Jersey's own Zach Gelb. Or maybe it's Pennsylvania. Anyhow, it's one of the two, I'm pretty sure. The Zach Gelb Show continues on Fox Sports 920 The Jersey.
All right, welcome back in. Zach Gelb Show, Fox Sports 920 The Jersey. It's a great time of the year as we get closer and closer to March Madness. Conference Tournament Week is happening right now, and next week we'll be filling out our brackets. And one team that is going to the big dance for 2 years in a row is the Florida Gulf Coast Eagles. And now joining us is a New Jersey native, and that's their head coach, Joe Dooley, the Atlantic Sun champions, joins us right now. Coach, thanks for the time right now. Zach Gelb, appreciate it, and how are you?
I'm doing great, Zach. How are you?
Coach, I'm doing okay, but I'm actually jealous of you. Not only are you going to the NCAA tournament, but you probably have beautiful weather in Florida right now. And you know, as a New Jersey native, yesterday in Jersey it was 70 degrees. We were in shorts and a T-shirt. Everything was okay. And then today it's 30 degrees, snowing. We have a blizzard. So I'm definitely jealous of your Florida weather today.
I talked to somebody in New York this morning, and it's about 84 right now, no humidity, a nice little breeze going on here, so it's a little bit different weather.
Yeah, you could say that the least. I bet you don't miss it being a New Jersey native, but I saw yesterday your team had a little day with the Red Sox. How about that experience?
I think it's really a pretty neat deal. We've been fortunate. Chris Sale, who plays for the Red Sox, played baseball here and has been great with our program, and a bunch of the guys, a bunch of the Red Sox. I guess the other night we had about 18 Red Sox came to the game and to our game, and then they reciprocated and gave us an opportunity to come out and throw a pitch yesterday before their game. So it was a pretty cool deal for our guys.
Did you throw the pitch, or was it one of your players?
I threw the pitch.
How'd you throw it?
I wouldn't trust any of our players. None of them would have been able to throw it near a plate if you've ever seen our guys.
How did you throw it?
A little inside. Thankfully, there wasn't a batter a right-handed batter in the batter's box.
You got to love that as we're talking to head coach Joe Dooley, his team going back to the NCAA tournament. So you're from West Orange, New Jersey. Give me your journey and how a kid from New Jersey made it to a Division I head coach.
Well, I've been fortunate. I went to St. Benedict's in Newark and played for a great high school coach, Jack Dalton, who recently passed away, and was fortunate enough. I went to GW. I played at GW. And following my playing career at GW, I was fortunate enough to go to the University of South Carolina, and a gentleman named George Felton was the head coach there, and one of the assistants on the staff there was a guy named Tubby Smith, who ended up doing pretty well. And I went from South Carolina, where I was for 3 years, to East Carolina as an assistant, as the head coach of East Carolina. Then I went with Fran Fraschilla to the University of New Mexico for a couple of years, and then for 3 years, and we were fortunate to do pretty well. And then I ended up with Bill Self at Kansas for 10 years before coming here. So it's been a pretty good run.
When you were in high school, you were over 1,000-point scorer in your entire career. When was the moment that you knew, hey, I could probably do this as a coach and be pretty successful at it?
Well, I grew up across the street from Richie Adubato, who ended up being a longtime NBA coach, and got exposed to that when he was with the Knicks working for Coach Brown. They had Mike Fratello and Rick Pitino and Bob Hill and all those guys. And I grew up around the game and liked it. And was, like I said, fortunate enough to be good enough to get a college scholarship and play 4 years at GW. And during my freshman and sophomore year at GW, I ended up working camps and going to the 5-star camp and sort of liked it and appreciated it. And then when I graduated, I knew I wanted to coach and was fortunate enough that Coach Felton gave me a chance at the University of South Carolina, and then sort of just gone from there.
Coach, your team right now, it's a fun group to coach probably, and last year we all know their story. They won the playing game, trailed UNC by 1 at half before losing to a team that ended up going to the national championship game and losing to Villanova. That experience last year, how much does it help this time around what you're going to experience next week?
I think the NCAA tournament, when you have some guys that have been in it, it's not the novelty of it. I think, last year it was we were really, really young, and we got better as the season went along. And I think that in almost one regard, we didn't get to enjoy the whole deal, because by the time we got our seeding and then we were sent to Dayton, and you win the game in Dayton. As soon as you're done with the game in Dayton, you're driving back to the hotel, getting your stuff, and going back to the airport to fly to Raleigh. I think the guys understand it. I think they've done a good job. We've played our way, and I'd be shocked, but we've played our way not probably into a 14, maybe a 13 seed. I think it's a big experience. The other thing is, in the last calendar year, we've played North Carolina, we've played Michigan State, we've played Baylor, we've played Florida. We've played good teams, and our guys, we're going to respect who we play, but I don't think we're going to be standing there in warm-ups, asking for autographs either.
Yeah, I definitely was thinking about that before we had you on with the teams that you played this year, especially earlier on in the season. Definitely probably doesn't make your group uptight when you get into one of these situations. I was reading a quote from one of your players the other day that the player said he felt like this team has more team chemistry compared to the group last year. What were the things that you've seen so far in your team that you've seen them better together on the court in terms of synergy?
Well, I think that we're a little bit older, and I think that helped. And I think the quote was Demetrius Moran said it in one of the press conferences. Demetrius was hurt most last year. He played in 7 league games. He's one of our better frontline guys and played in 7 league games, only played in half the league games, and 3 or 4 of those couldn't play in the second half because he was hurt. We played with 2 freshman point guards last year. Now they're a little bit older. We added Brandon Goodwin, who was an all-league player this year, was a first-team all-league player. So now when you get a guy that can jump up and get 18 points a game, some of the younger guys have gotten better. We've gotten, we play 9 or 10 depending upon the day. One thing we have, especially for a mid-major team, is we have bigs. We've got some depth up front that we can play a bunch of guys if we get to foul trouble where the drop-off isn't, catastrophic. I mean, we've got guys that are more than capable of stepping in and playing, so it helps.
You know that nationally, when people hear the name Florida Gulf Coast, they always think back to that team in 2012 and 2013. And I was fortunate enough to actually see the beginning runs of that NCAA tournament since it did commence in Philadelphia. Do the kids, do they feel that pressure of trying to live up to what that team did in the 2012-2013 season, or is that an afterthought now?
I think there's expectations in our program. I mean, now, you can look at it a bunch of different ways. We've tried to sell our guys on the fact this is the first time, the year that they went to the Sweet 16, they won the tournament. They didn't win the regular season. And the following year was the first time that we'd ever won the regular season championship. So we said, this is progress for our program. When you look, we've been Division I eligible for 6 years, and this is our 5th straight postseason tournament. That includes 3 NCAA tournaments, an NIT, and a CIT. And 5 straight 21 seasons. We've won more games in the state of Florida than any Division I program, with the exception of Florida, in the last 4 years. So I think, these are all things we talk. This is also the first time that we've won the regular season and the postseason tournament. So we talk about how building a program is about continued success, not just one-time success.
Coach Joe Dooley with us right now on the Zach Gelb Show. When I saw that team play in the 2012-2013 season in that NCAA tournament, it was just unbelievable to see the loose style that they had on the court with the loquacious personality and then the thunderous slam dunks. Your squad, in the article I was reading yesterday by a local paper nearby you, has 157 dunks this year. Tell me a little bit about the guys that jump up a little bit and slam it down on your team.
Well, Demetrius Moran, shot 70-something% from the floor for the season this year, and my guess is, I guess he had 80 or something, or in the low 90s in dunks on the season. So I would think if you got that many dunks, your field goal percentage would be pretty good. But statistically, we lead the nation in points in the paint. We've got good downhill drivers. Goodwin can drive it, and Johnson can drive it, and then they're very good finishers. So that forces bigs to help. And once they help, we're athletic enough that we can throw the ball up, or if we're in transition, we've got good enough wings with Tucker and Terrell and those type of guys. We can get out and run and score in transition. And the guys, we've recruited pretty good athletes, and I think that we've played to our athleticism.
When you have a team that has so much experience and they're loose and they know what to expect and they don't back down from these bigger schools that have so much of a high reputation, how much fun is it for you as a coach that has seen basketball at so many different levels to coach this current group?
They're fun to coach because, like you said, they're not afraid. I mean, it's we talk about it all the time. We have a sign on our locker room door that most battles are won before they're fought. And some of that was done, and having been at a place like Kansas, there was times when you could look down in warm-ups and you could see, they do not want to play us. And I don't think our guys have that look and haven't had that look. I mean, that doesn't mean you can't get dinged, which you can. But, I mean, it's not like there's going to be a shock and awe situation. I mean, we're going to play a good team in the first round. That's why they're in the NCAA tournament. But I also think that, our guys aren't, afraid of accepting a challenge and trying hard. And I think that's what they'll do.
You guys are on a roll right now. And when you're on a roll, you want to keep on playing, but you have to wait a little bit until next week. As a coach, how do you keep this team fresh?
We were off Monday. Tuesday, we were also fortunate that we had spring break this week. So we were off Monday. Tuesday we lifted, shot free throws, and did a workout in the pool. So there was no physical banging on the bodies. We practiced Wednesday, Thursday, and we'll practice today. Tomorrow we'll be off. Sunday we'll shoot and do dummy offense and wait for our drawing, and then those type of things. But I think today would be a great day to have a good spirited workout, and then tomorrow will be also the guys can put their feet up, and then it's on starting Sunday again.
Take me through the competitive nature of your team a little bit more, and just describe that hunger that the kids have, because they got the taste a little bit of the NCAA tournament last year. So how hungry are your kids right now? Really hungry. I think that we talk about it all the time. It's these guys that someone like Brandon Goodwin, who had never played in an NCAA tournament, and last year Mark Eddie Norelia, who was the first guy who committed to us when we took the job. It's great to see these guys get rewarded, and I think as they started looking around and started looking at some of these things, we talked about it in early February that we got to start playing for seeding games. And we're not playing just to win. We're playing to make ourselves, put ourselves in the best possible situation seeding-wise. And, we played a tough non-conference schedule. Our out-of-conference strength of schedule was in the 70s. And, we've won 18 of our last 20 games. So you just try to build confidence that way with the guys, and just also let them know that, you can't take your foot off the gas. You take your foot off the gas, you get beat. When you're a mid-major, the goal is always to get to the NCAA tournament, and it's always impressive when a mid-major is able to have a consistency level like your program. What are some things that have changed with you when you first came to Florida Gulf Coast up until now that you really worked at improving the consistency of this program? Well, I think there's been a million things that we've gotten better at. I think when it first happened, when Andy got this thing up and going, the success, I don't think they were prepared for it because they'd never experienced it, and it wasn't expected. In some regards, overwhelmed. I mean, now if you look, we sell out just about every home game. There's a great following here in Southwest Florida. I mean, our crowds are off the charts as far as energy and atmosphere. But little things, we've got a new office building going up. I can see the construction going off my office right now, where they're building us a brand new offices, new training facility, new weight room. All these things that probably 5 years ago would never have been envisioned. Just the level of, from the sneaker contracts all the way through being able to do extra meals and training table. I think none of these things were probably envisioned, and now we're able to do these things, which helps benefit our student athletes. When you first took the job, did you talk to Coach Andy? I talked to Andy, yes. Yeah, I asked him about the kids and, about the players and those type of things, and he gave me very sound advice. Wrapping up with Coach Joe Dooley right now on the Zach Gelb Show, Fox Sports 920 The Jersey. I just want to get your take on something from a coaching perspective. A story here locally, the Princeton basketball team, they started off the year 4-6. They lost two big players to injuries, and then they were able to get 17 wins in a row, and now we're 2 wins away from joining you guys in the NCAA tournament. As a coach, Coach Mitch Henderson's done a phenomenal job this year, but when you have to overcome adversity, and when adversity hits a program like losing two big-time players on your team, as a coach, how do you challenge your team to just keep on fighting through and get in their best effort? Well, there's a lot of guys over there that have been waiting for an opportunity, and it's now you've been waiting for your opportunity. Now you need to take advantage of it and step up. And I watched Princeton play Harvard the other night. I guess it was last Friday, I believe, wasn't it? And yes. Very well coached, really good team. They've got good players, and sometimes in a weird way, you reinvent your team. You might go from you were going to play one way, and now all of a sudden the pieces just really fit, and that's the way it looks with Princeton. It looks like they have really good chemistry, and maybe they were going to do one thing, and now all of a sudden, now you've got to switch gears. And Mitch has done a really good job with his team, and I don't know, I did not see them earlier in the season, so I don't know if they're playing differently, which I wouldn't expect too much, but I do respect the fact that when things go sideways, good coaching, is part of trying to figure out when things aren't going right what to do. And a similarity I've seen between Mitch's team and your team is both of your teams obviously have experience and they're both loose. You guys were both expected to win the conference tournament. When you are the top dog, do you feel the pressure, or is it more you just embrace it and go, okay, it's expected that we get back to the NCAA tournament? Well, embrace it. And I think the biggest thing that and I try to explain to our guys all the time is embrace it. And, I was fortunate enough for 10 years to sit there and see it firsthand at KU with Coach Self. I mean, that's our expectation here, because that's what we created, is to win the conference title and to get to the NCAA tournament. Now, when you're at a place like Kansas, it's an expectation to win the conference title, but it's also an expectation to compete for a national title. And,
having, been there and experienced, the highs, the lows of some of those things, I think it gives you a little bit of perspective, both on a regional level or a mid-major level like ourselves, but also on a national level at a place like KU.
Coach, I'm sure you could admire the job Jay Wright has done at Villanova, knowing what it takes to win a national championship. They won that national championship last year in one of the best college basketball games I've ever seen. But now this Villanova squad has a chance to talk about what you were talking about at Kansas a little bit, of replicating a national championship. When you have a team like Villanova and you see the way they respond off a national championship, that must be a thrill to watch for you, right?
Oh, it's really cool. I mean, the big thing in knowing Jay, and he's got those guys grounded, and I think that's an unbelievable job. And I think he's probably sold them on the fact that, hey, why not do it again? Let's do something that hasn't been done since Florida did it. And I think those are all deals that when you've got some guys that are good character guys, and you've got some returning experience, and then probably the newness. They obviously lost a couple key pieces, and the big kid didn't get eligible for him this year. But you have a lot of key pieces back now. How do you piece it together? And how do you keep guys interested? How do you keep guys hungry? And he's done a great job, and it seems like they're playing especially well now.
Well, Coach, best of luck to your squad, and we hope to see some wins in this NCAA tournament, and let's talk to you again real soon. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
There is Coach Joe Dooley from the Florida Gulf Coast Eagles, Atlantic Sun champions, and we've seen these top seeds in conference tournaments. We've seen some have success and some have failures. Coach Joe Dooley's squad was one of those teams that have success. We know Monmouth was on a 17-game win streak. They lose their conference tournament, and then they're on the outside looking in when it comes probably next week for the NCAA tournament, and that's life as a mid-major. In one of these smaller conferences, you could have a phenomenal season, but if you don't win your conference tournament, and that's the system, then it doesn't matter if you won 17 in a row. It all goes out the window because you didn't meet up to the level of expectations that were created when you went on one of those big-time win streaks. And that's what we're going to see this weekend. Princeton as a team, they're playing Penn on Penn's home court in the Cathedral of College Basketball in the Palestra, and Princeton should win the game, and then we'll see if they're able to beat Harvard or Yale, whoever they will face in the championship game, assuming Princeton does get there. But it would definitely be very fitting if Princeton does get into the NCAA tournament, just because of the job that Mitch Henderson has done this year and those players with their tough style of play, being able to overcome the adversity of starting 4 and 6 and then losing two big-time players in Hans and Caruso. So we'll see what's in store for Princeton this weekend. We'll continue to follow Florida Gulf Coast, as well as their head coach, Coach Joe Dooley, who just joined us a few moments ago, is from West Orange, New Jersey. And what we'll do right now is we'll take a quick break on the Zach Gelb Show. 609-919-9200 is the number to get on board. And when we get back, we got one more segment to play before we exit the Princeton Orthopedic Associates studios, even on a snowy Friday. But it will be a happy Friday because the weekend is coming up, and you got to love that. So one more segment to play on the Zach Gelb Show, Fox Sports 920 The Jersey. We'll be back right after this.